The countenance of a racist. Or at least so a near unified worldwide press corps appears to believe, apparently. God. I really hate 2023 internet. Not just YouTube in general or social media either, but just the whole damn thing. Because this is news now. So KSI is a person that I frankly know very little about. The only reason I know who he is because he got into a beef with Raka Ali years and years and years ago. Beyond that, I know that he's a mainstream dude and that he had a boxing match that was very popular for some random ass reason. But I have now also been informed by the BBC, The Guardian, by Variety, by The Mirror, and by goddamn Norwegian newspapers. Why? Why is Aftenposten? Why are you covering this? Oh, Jesus. Hey, I'm as bad too. I'm talking about it as well, but I'm kind of going to use this to spin it off into a bit of a different thing. But why is this in Norwegian news? Why? And of course, now that he has committed a whoopsie, he has also declared that he's taking a break from social media, by the way. We begin the Grievance archaeology as well, as did you know that the KSI person also trivialized rape in 2015? You know, half a decade plus ago? Well, now you do, so you should probably really hate this obvious racist. I'm joking, by the way, you do. Just in case I need to point this out, because you never know these days. I am making a joke. I am exaggerating things because, goddamn, come on. This is a man who dresses up as a sports drink to sell his sugary water, okay? This is a guy who puts on boxing matches with his friend for publicity. I doubt this guy is an overt white supremacist or anything like that. It would very much surprise me if he was a black supremacist even. This is not coverage worthy, but this is what it's become now, because we have run out of grievances. We have genuinely run out of grievances. Like, we don't have anything to be angry about anymore. Society has been ground down to such a rounded edge that there is nothing spicy allowable anymore. So the reason why KSI here has been declared a white supremacist, I suppose that's uncharitable, a mere racist, is because he used, what was it, God damn it, so a clip in the video saw him use a racial slur whilst on the team name. Well, I see that one. But what racial slur did KSI say? Did KSI trivialize rape? Oh god, there we go, yes. So, he suggested P star. And I was confused, okay? And I found another article saying that this was a racial slur aimed towards South Asians. South Asians? Filipinos? Vietnamese? Chinese? Japanese? No, it is the English definition of South Asian. In this case, it is referring to Pakistanis. Especially, it is referring to the short form word for a Pakistani person, which I am now hesitant to say on YouTube because God even knows anymore. So that was the racial slur. It's a stupid game show they do where they try to guess words, and this is what he came up with. And everyone else laughed because it was a stupid joke. And he put out a groveling apology going, oh, it's inexcusable, you can never say this. No matter what, you should never. It is the sin that will not end, you see. Now, not to get all left-wing on you, but, I remember this happened. When PewDiePie dropped the big bomb, the N-bomb, a couple of years ago on a stream accidentally, and people were analyzing the way he said it, like, no, this person speaks this word with far too much casuality, like it sounds like something they're using regularly, you see. Well, every one of your friends laughed, so I imagine that whilst I do not think that KSI is much of a racist, I do believe that he probably uses words like this because they're funny. Because they are funny. because they're taboo. It's the same thing like when you're 6 years old and you realize that saying piss, caca, goo goo, gaggle or something makes all of your friends laugh. Because like, oh, pee, oh, that's a taboo word. The old aunts down at the church don't like that shit. Therefore, it's funny, because we know we're not supposed to use this word. Taboo. Funny. Duh. But, goddamn, this has got to be pretty far down on the list, right? Like, Pakistani. Maybe, I don't know, is there like a big racist movement against the Pakistani in England? I mean, but no way. We even had a joke about this, where there was, in a textbook, there was the word pakis. I'm saying that in Norwegian, YouTube, calm down, which means pack ice. And that sounds mildly similar to the shortened form of Pakistani. And therefore, because there was a instructional textbook about pack ice in, the northern Arctic, it included the word, and people who were reading it were like, well, this is a slur against my people. And no, it wasn't. It was literally Norwegian. But back then, that was so long ago that people read it, and the people who complained about it were then embarrassed, like, oh god, I'm sorry, that's ridiculous, of course. Because it was pre-woke, but now, it's a cancelable offense. And you never know where the line goes anymore, because we keep goddamn moving it. So, many of you might have noticed that the Lotus Eaters, which got recently demonetized for being associated with a channel that had supposedly violated the YouTube terms of service, that being presumably Saga of a Card, my good friend of course, they were demonetized. And they were also given a strike, which is why they ceased operation for a bit to let it run out so as to not give a YouTube an excuse to yeet the entire channel, because they made a video called The Oscars Are Satanic. Now, there was hardly an inaccurate description, frankly. And it was also one widely used as well to not the Oscars, the Grammys, excuse me, derp. Because, I don't know, people were describing the stage show by Sam Smith here as satanic. Well, why would they do that? Why would they do that? Why would somebody look at such an artistic performance and go, well, I don't know, this is a bit devilish, don't you think? Almost as if you're carrying out a full-on ritual on stage. And that's the thing. To me, this is a desperate plea for attention by somebody who dresses like this. He named the song Unholy. Just if you gotta hammer the goddamn point home. Again, this is the taboo. Look at this. Look at this human being. Like, he might as well fold his hands in front of him and go, please, please pay attention to me. Look at me. God damn it, my career depends upon it. Look at me. And that is what he did, and that is what he still does. Obviously enough. But, like, this shit here, this was edgy in 2005. In the year 2000, this was edgy. This was rebelling against the Christian conservatives of the time, which very much so did exist, and they too were censorious bastards in their own right, absolutely. But this is rebelling against a power structure that no longer goddamn exists, frankly. Like, nobody is complaining about the Christian conservatives anymore. They're not cancelling anything. They're not going after people. The Christian conservatives didn't get this man's career ruined or anything. They don't exist as a power structure. Like, this was edgy 20 plus years ago. Now, well, it's mainly just cringe, frankly. But, again, it was hardly an unreasonable descriptor to call the Grammars satanic, again, considering the name, considering the stage performance, and considering, well, like Sam Smith and Kim Petras' unholy Grammys performance deemed satanic and evil by conservatives. Again, seriously. Are you calling it an incorrect descriptor? Because right now, we are in a position where certain things are acceptable, no matter what. Like this. This is acceptable, no matter what. You do not get to call this out on any level, on any basis whatsoever, because this is the current orthodoxy. This is above criticism. You must look at this and go brave and stunning and rebellious, etc., even though, again, the things that it is rebelling against disappeared 20 plus years ago. But if you say a word that I literally need to Google to figure out, well, you're gonna have to take a break from social media now. You're gonna have to apologize. You're gonna have to grovel, in fact, as I try to kill the gnats in my room again. I wish spring would arrive at some point. This goddamn winter has been a pain in the ass. But where is the line? Like, is there any sort of, like, common standard of dignity anymore? Like, of what is normal? Of what is grossly offensive? Shall we use that standard? Does it exist anymore? Because, again, not grossly offensive, grossly offensive. Now, to be fair as well, this is something blown mostly out of proportion by the media, because they saw this and went, this will probably generate clicks. And hey, it probably does generate clicks as well. But it goes to show that this guy knows this is so serious that he has decided to disengage from all social media, lest he say anything else that might make it worse. Because if he was a normal person, if he wasn't one of the presumably biggest YouTubers on the planet, in all due likelihood, saying a racial slur, your ass is grass. You're gone. You're yeeted off the platform. In fact, as demonstrated by, again, my friend Sargon of Akkad, saying a racial slur years and years ago, like half a decade plus at this point probably, can not only get your channel demonetized, it can get a channel that is associated with that channel demonetized. So I entirely understand why KSI might be panicking a little bit, but he is one of the privileged class. He is one of the princelings, and I very much so doubt that anything will happen because of this. I mean, his compatriot, Logan Paul, I keep getting that name wrong, the guy who filmed a dead person and then decided, this is YouTube material. He too got away with barely a slap on the wrist, whereas other channels would have been yeeted out of existence before you could even say whoopsie. And again, our society right now, it is, how do you even describe it? Like, how on God's good earth, in 10 years from now, are we going to explain this to people? Like, yes, there existed a time when this was considered bold, rebellious, revolutionary. It was performance art, you see, and he was given one of the largest stages in the world with which to perform from. Meanwhile, if you used a shortened form of the word Pakistani, you became worldwide news coverage. Norwegian goddamn paper. It's ridiculous. It is inherently ridiculous. Absurdist, in fact, even. We have no more moral guidelines anymore. We have no moral boundaries. We have no fixed codes whatsoever. We have simply just an ever-sliding grievance railway going swiftly downwards, where the current yearly leaders, whoever is on top at the time, determines that one thing is 100% okay and above any and all criticism, and another thing cannot be allowed in even its most tiny, minute, granular, minuscule form. And I'll tell you this as well. When this eventually begins to shift the other way around, which it already has, Jesus Christ, I would not wish to be on the receiving side. Because, all of this excess is going to get turned. And I was going to point out as well, it isn't just in these regards too. It is also like stuff like the overt sexualization. We have basically completely 100% inverted the old moralistic framework of the conservative Christians with all of the prudity, all of the punishment, all of the aggressiveness, all of the you shall not do this, but on the other extreme. Where again, Sargon and Losi just got their channel struck for having harassed the Grammys by calling them satanic. Meanwhile, again, you've got music videos with basically naked chicks dancing around, beating their vaginas against poles, or bouncing their asses against the camera, while singing about their genitals. God. Like, it's not a particularly, it's not particularly like mysterious why people are like, oh, this is a particularly degenerate age we're living in, is it? Oh my God, yes. I mean, here's the thing. I am not a fan of the opposition argument in these either, because on Twitter, I saw people referring to this like, oh, this is the end times. People, they're performing actual legitimate satanic rituals on stage and nobody's reacting. Like, what's happening? We have Satan worship at the Grammys. Like, come on. This isn't Satan worship. This is a cringy little motherfucker who begs for attention as hard as he conceivably can, begging for attention as hard as he conceivably can, on every level he conceivably can. There's no deeper meaning to this. Literally, this is a grift. It is as shallow as a piss-filled pond. That is it. And God, like, I really hope that we manage to arrive at some kind of a central position on this, because Jesus, heavens above, this is gonna get ridiculous. I mean, get ridiculous. What am I even saying? 2023. A tale of extremes, I guess. But on the other hand, as I said too, we do know that the power structures are beginning to shift, and in large parts because of how extreme things have gotten so quickly. Again, I mentioned like the Christian conservatism of like the 2000s or the 90s. That was only 20, 30 years ago. And yet we went from "you shall not take the Lord's name in vain" to this being a cringy stage show 20 years out of bounds. Well, if nothing else, society is moving at a rapid pace. I suppose that's a positive thing in all of this. Good God. What do you guys think about this, though? What? Seriously, like, how have we arrived at this point? How did we? God damn it! See, I know, but my brain is actually having a hard time squaring this particular circle and arriving at a reasonable, confused, non-confused conclusion. God, I am confusing myself now. Just contrasting this to this. What a goddamn world. Until next time, I've been Arch. I'm gonna go be confused over there now. Have a good day.